Mi ni Gen Z. Mi napeana input ya Gen Z hapa. I do not speak on behalf of the Gen Zs, but I belong to that demographic. So I will say it as I think it. I will say it as I know it. Let's start with Gachagua. Well, we have already belabored the point on how Gachagua is not so bad as compared to the rest of them. He's as bad as Ruto is. He's as bad as the MPs and the CSS are. Because if he's tribal, they are tribal as well. If he's corrupt, they are corrupt as well. So Gachagua is not the entire problem of the Kenyan government. If you take out Gachagua, corruption will still exist. If you take out Gachagua, tribalism will still exist. If you take out Gachagua, the Adani deal will still exist. Negotiated for by this government. And they know that the Adani deal is total democracy. They know that. They know the Kenyans are against it, but they want to push it because they already have a way of benefiting from that deal. Gachagua is not Adani. And even if he goes home today, that Adani deal will still go on. Adani itachukua the Mombasa port. Adani itachukua the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Adani itachukua KPLC na KenGen. So wako na Ketraco. They will take all of the state agencies' energy. And this will happen because you have a government that is interested in auctioning this country. Not Gachagua, the entire government. Because Gachagua did not sign the Ketraco deal. Opiyo Wandayi did. Opiyo Wandayi is coming from ODM. And here we thought ODM was the messiah and the solution to the Kenyan leadership problem. Kumbe ODM was just another Kenya Kwanza government. Ni opportunity hawakuwa wamepata. When they got the chance, they are behaving the same as the government. ODM is the one spearheading the takeover of this country, the takeover of our airports, of the Mombasa port, of the energy sector is being spearheaded by ODM, one-on-one. The cabinet secretary for treasury is the one orchestrating and planning all this. He is signing these deals and giving a go-ahead to the government to take over this sector, that other sector, that other sector. Opiyo Wandayi is coming from ODM. We thought he would be clean, but he is not. So this Gachagua issue should not be pushed to Kenyans as if this is the only issue we should be considering. Yes, Gachagua is bad, but yes, they are also bad, all of them. Today, the court was unable to give a verdict and a judgment on anything. Nothing substantial happened in court today because the lawyers, for the Gachagua lawyers, were arguing that the Deputy Chief Justice probably does not have the powers to appoint a 3-bench judge to discuss matters impeachment. And there was the question of the jurisdiction of the High Court. If the High Court has the jurisdiction to listen to a case of impeachment concerning the Deputy President. And that case is still ongoing. And a way has not been found, a solution has not been found as to whether the High Court has a jurisdiction to listen to an impeachment case and as to whether the Deputy Chief Justice has the power to nominate a 3-bench judge to listen to the impeachment of Gachagua. And we are being treated to this because the judiciary is doing all this in a hurry. Na wameambiwa na Ruto waharakishe hii kesi because Ruto wants to have another deputy president. If possible, Ruto wants to have another deputy president tomorrow morning. You saw how the National Assembly was so expeditious and fastidious to give to us another deputy president without wasting time. Gachagua was impeached around 11:30 p.m. in the night. The following morning, around 9 a.m., the president had announced the nomination of another deputy president. Why the hurry? Why the hurry? I'm not here to sanitize Gachagua, but I'm asking myself, if going forward, this is the precedence we are setting, that the National Assembly and Parliament will be taken over by the executive to do its bidding, the same as the judiciary. Is this the country we want? Because after Gachagua, they will go for someone else. And they may possibly decide to go for us Kenyans. You already know about the term limit that is in the offing. They are discussing increasing their term limits from 5 years to 7 years. If we celebrate the ousting of Gachagua maliciously, without according him a fair hearing. Next, it will be us. Next, it will be us. They will start eating us. And you've already seen your parliamentarians have all the motivation to eat up our space. They have all the motivation to eat up into the Kenyan resources. They have all the motivation to punish us as Kenyans. Tell me how an MP brings to parliament a bill to criminalize and to make it so expensive to farm horticultural crops. How an MP brings to parliament a bill that makes it so hard to 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 cultivate mag beans, ndengu. Tell me how an MP in our census or his census brings to parliament a bill that is so punitive on livestock and agriculture in this country, because it is not the first time and it will not be the last time. They have every motivation to finish us. If we clap and if we acclaim them as they deal with Gachagua viciously, as you've seen, next it will be us Kenyans. They will pass anything they want. They will push to us any agenda and every agenda that they think will serve the Western powers and the government at the expense of us, just because they've been bribed with some few millions of shillings. And I'm telling you, the kind of motivation we've seen in parliament is a motivation that is motivated by a brown envelope. Hao wabunge hawajai kuwa na hiyo motivation. They've never sat down in the wee hours in the night hours to discuss SHIF, to discuss SHA, to discuss the new funding model. They've never sat for long hours to discuss anything that is important to Kenyans. But they have enough time to the night to discuss the impeachment of one man, Gachagua. I am not sympathizing with Gachagua, but I'm being objective here. Next, who is next? Next is us, we Kenyans. We will be their next culprit. We will be put on that table, we will be chopped into pieces, and they will feed us off. So we have to be vigilant on these things. And on Kithure Kindiki, this Kithure Kindiki is the same guy who murdered us on the streets. I am a Gen Z, so when I say murdered us, I imply and mean that Kindiki, as the CS of Interior, was in charge of the entire security operation during the month of June and July. He ordered the police to finish us, to abduct us, to arrest us, and to kill us. To this day, we've not gotten restitution for the lives we lost. We've not gotten anything substantial from IPOA. We reported those cases of police misusing their power. We've reported police brutality. We've reported abductions and extrajudicial killings. Nothing happened. And I don't think anything is going to happen. In this country, anything that is sensitive to the common mwananchi is never taken seriously. But they will take anything serious that that is being pushed by the executive. But things that are important to us, for example, getting a closure on the police officers who misused power in June and July, is not important to the executive. It is not important to them. That is why they have no motivation to give to us those answers. They have no motivation to take those officers to court. They have no motivation to reach out to those families who lost their loved ones. They have, and you saw the other day on this past Sunday, they denied us access and entry to Uhuru Park. They do not want us to order memorial for the youths we lost and for the Gen Zs who lost their lives and who found themselves in between the police and the GSU. They do not want us to remember those youths. They do not want us to celebrate those youths. But to this day, we celebrate Mau Mau. We celebrate those that gave us the independence of 1963. But to them, it is not important to celebrate those that have given us another independence in 2024. As a Gen Z, that irks me. That makes me so furious. And I wonder and ask myself, when are we going to have better? When are we going to have different? This Kithure Kindiki superintended over the deaths and the abductions and the killings of Gen Zs. And this is the guy you want us to accept as the next deputy president? This Kindiki Kithure has amassed millions of money in 2 years. Unexplainable wealth. You cannot tell me that a CS has made around 100 million in 2 years. But when he was not a CS, as a senator, he was not in a position, he was not able to make that money. So tell me if that is not the Ministry of Interior's money talking. When he was a senator, he could not make that money in 2 years. But after 2 years in the Ministry of Interior, he miraculously has made around 100 plus million shillings. It does not make sense. So this Kindiki is as bad as the Gachagua they are trying to tell us is bad. This Kindiki is a thief. This Kindiki is a murderer. What is his difference? This Kindiki is a tribalist. What is the difference between Kindiki and Gachagua? Maybe the soprano voice, but everything else, they are the same. Everything else, they are the same. So we reject Kindiki, we reject Gachagua, we reject Ruto. We want all of them gone home. Yesterday, I asked why we cannot have one MP table a motion of impeachment against Ruto. I would want to see that. And we as the Gen Zs would push for that impeachment, the same way we push for the reject finance bill. And we abnegated that bill till Parliament rescinded their decision and decided to reject that finance bill. The same way we are going to push for impeach Ruto till he goes home. He either goes home by impeachment or resignation, but he must go home. And it will not be in 2027. Anybody telling you that you should wait till 2027 to remove Ruto from power is deceiving you. He already knows the plans these people have of rigging elections. We've never taken out a president successfully out of the ballot. Kibaki lost in 2007. He still became president. Uhuru Kenyatta lost in 2017. He still became president. Who is lying to you that Ruto, even after losing in 2027, will relinquish power to another person? Who is lying to you? We have to defeat Ruto before 2027. That must happen, should happen, will happen. And my final remark is on a constitutional problem we have and a constitutional weakness we have that the government has been exploiting. And I will refer to my phone. There's a constitutional clause on public procurement and disposal. It is called the Public Procurement and Disposal Act of 2007. And this is what the current government has been using to steal from us. It is on the Daily Nation. I'm not sure which page this is, but the title is How Treasury is Abetting Shilling 437 billion Adani Group Deals. This is what happens. This is what has been happening. Sorry. So the Public Procurement and Disposal Act was passed into law in 2007. The Kibaki era and the Uhuru era has used the Public Procurement and Disposal Act sparingly to carry out some tenders and contracts in government. But this government has discovered that this is a loophole they can use to steal from us constitutionally. I have heard guys ask, kwa nini hakuna public participation ya Ketraco na the Adani deals? I want to tell you why there is no public participation for the Adani deals, and there will not be one. There won't be one. There will not be a public participation for the Adani deals. And this is the reason. So, under section 111A, there lies the specially permitted procurement procedure model, SPPP. This is what Ruto and this government has been using to steal from us. And here it reads, the SPPP allows government institutions to engage private sector players for contracts without having to make public the decision. So they are not going to tell you what they are discussing with Adani in thoroughness. They are not going to be open with this, because under the law, under the constitution, under the Public Procurement and Disposal Act, under section 111A of this specially permitted procurement procedures model, the government is given a leeway. The government is given the mandate to enter into contracts without disclosing the terms of engagements of these contracts to the public. And this is what they have been exploiting. So under the specially permitted procurement procedure, SPPP model, the government has the authority to enter into contracts which the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority has no power to question. It cannot oversight any contracts the government enters using the specially permitted procurement procedure. And using this, the Treasury is going to enter into government contracts and set the rules of engagement as it seems fit. And that is why I told you that this ODM is not our savior. Today, the CS Treasury is an ODM guy. Whether he resigned from that party or he did not resign is immaterial. We all know him. We all know he's an ODM member. Whether he resigned or not, we know he made his name through ODM. And he will possibly resign after his CS tenure and go back to ODM. This guy is aiding the government to steal from us using the specially permitted procurement model. And they are going to enter into contracts, numerous contracts, that we will not be able to question as the public. And the Procurement Regulatory Authority will not question these deals because they are permitted under the Constitution, under the Public Procurement and Disposal Act of 2007. So this government is going to auction this airport. They are going to auction our energy sector from Ketraco to KPLC to Kengen, and they are going to auction the Mombasa port, and they are going to auction KICC and any other any other resource we have in this country. They are going to auction our national resources, and you will not question them, and they will not subject this to a public participation. So we need to be vigilant as Kenyans, and we need to go back to the streets to reject Adani. This is the trigger we need. We do not need to wait till 2025 for another finance bill to head back to the streets. Let's go back to the streets as soon as possible to reject Adani, because the government will push for Adani takeover of this country.